Hello and welcome. In this brief clip, I want to talk about the concept of data independence and the three-tier architecture. This gives you an appreciation for an additional sort of feature that a database management system will provide, and it's the basis for some of the advantages that we've already discussed. And it's detailed in the on reading for week 1, but I think it's worth spending a little bit of time. It's an ANSI standard, and so here goes. So one can think of a relational database as having 3 separate tiers, and this winds up being very useful. And the tiers are the external level, the conceptual level, and the internal or physical levels. Okay, so that's all well and good. What the heck does that mean? What is it good for? Etc. Fair enough. So the external level, as we can see by these lovely little stick figures here, the external level is what the end user actually interacts with. So what the end user interacts with is his or her, daily world. So imagine we have an individual working in a call center answering sales calls. Well, that individual is going to see a set of screens on his or her computer. And there's going to be a data entry screen for placing orders. There's going to be screens for looking up orders. It's a limited view of the universe of data that an organization stores. But it's the universe where they need to get their work done, and it's the universe where they're comfortable in, and they don't need to have any knowledge of the information, for example, that's stored in the human resources department. So there's one user's view on the world. Now, someone out, say, for example, in the warehouse, they have a completely different view of the world. Now, some of their, bear with me here, some of their, all right, time out. There we go, and we're back. Some of their view is going to be similar. They have some of the same stuff going on. But, okay, so they're interested in warehouse locations and so forth, and they have a completely different view. Maybe they're seeing it from a dumb terminal, a blinking green cursor on a black background. The point here is each individual user has their perspective and their access, and for security purposes and convenience purposes, they don't have to be completely different, but they're independent of one another, and more importantly, they are independent of the underlying conceptual level. And the underlying conceptual level you can imagine as being all the information in the entire organization's database and how those bits of information relate to one another. So this is the whole underlying ball of wax. Now, the interesting thing about this is you can change these views, you can eliminate them, you can get rid of them, and so forth, and of course that doesn't impact the overall conceptual level. So you can define, all right, here's what people on the sales desk are allowed to see, and it won't change things here. Similarly and more powerfully, we can make changes in the conceptual level and not have it impact any unrelated view. So this is very useful, and it's something that database management systems provide. Let's talk about the conceptual level versus the physical level. So the physical level, especially any of you who are in networking, it's familiar to you because these are the actual physical disks on actual or virtual server machines that reside on an actual network, either on-site or off-site for an organization. So these are where the actual data as represented, for sake of argument magnetically, as a series of ones and zeros, this is where they hang out. So the nice thing, again, with this idea of data independence and independent tiers here is you can swap out a disk, you can change something about the indexing, you can add some servers, you can do all this sort of swell stuff at the physical level that's extremely important to keep everything working well and not have it in any way impact the conceptual level. So that's great. And we are focusing in this class primarily at this level. We will learn by the end how to define a view, for an individual, and we'll learn some of the security advantages and some of the limitations of it. But mostly we're dealing at, especially when we do next week, we get into entity relationship diagramming. Diagramming. Got a new tablet and I haven't quite figured it out. You'll have to bear with me as I get the hang of this business. If we were to provide a follow-on course in DBA land, database administration, then you deal more with some of the physical level stuff. So bear with me as I learn a little bit better how to use this new pen. I may have to switch back to my old one, but I needed that computer for another purpose. In the meantime, study hard, and I will see you next time. Thanks.